House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Day, everybody. Once again, welcome to House to Home, where my two lovely, I can't even call them colleagues because they're so far above. Here's my virtual background. They're way over in the clouds right there. I'm just underneath the breeze of the coconut trees. So Liz and Gina from Remax Diamond Realty. Day, ladies. Thanks so much for joining me as always. And I've been hearing speculation. I guess we'll start with you, Liz, that this is a seller's market right now, given the weird conditions and given the fact that the economy and it looks like the outlook changes every single day.
Yes.
Do we consider this a seller's market?
Yeah. Yes, it is. We're encountering situations right now when people are looking at purchasing homes. We're getting multiple offers. So when these multiple offers come in, sellers actually would scrutinize which is the best offer. What are the terms and conditions of these offers? And of course, the other item we're getting is cash buyers for homes. So if you had two offers, a cash versus a purchase document that states their contingencies with it, so they would weigh which offer to accept. Now, Gina and I talked about trying to get the message out to people that have properties that they're interested in selling. Some of them have held out for the market to change. Well, this is the time. The market has shifted. Our inventory on home sales are limited. So if people have a second or third home that they'd like to liquidate at this time, this is the time to do it. And we're asking that they contact their realtor to give them a market analysis on the value of their property. So what is it worth today? Now, bear in mind, values are subject to, of course, appraisals. But as realtors, what we do is look at the market. We do our analysis based on what properties have sold that are similar in condition. And then we would do an analysis or a market analysis to give you that information in terms of what could you ask for at this time and what could you get. But bear in mind, of course, it's still subject to appraisal. Mm-hmm. So it is a seller's market because we are getting multiple offers.
Okay, Gina, your thoughts on this? Because you always have some interesting insight, and you've taught me and hopefully all of our viewers on the segment over the years that just because something looks really, really good, and there's that old adage in business, if it looks too good to be true, it might not be. There's always two sides to a story, right? Especially in real estate.
Always. There's always the buyer's side and the seller's side. Mm-hmm. And Liz is pointing out, right now the market is on the seller's side, and maybe you're just looking at selling your primary residence, something you've been living in for years, but you're thinking about moving on or moving up or moving down. Some people want to scale down. The thing that, I say take advantage of the opportunity because, we're talking about appraisal value, but that plays a factor in what's going on in the market. But market demand plays a bigger role on what is going to happen with values. Market demand is critical. And the reason I say that is we can get an appraisal, and we're talking to sellers out there. You can get an appraisal on a piece of property, or we can look at it and we could say, listen, if I looked at your home and I look at the last 4 or 5 homes that are very, very similar to yours, because there's not much here that's identical, right? You don't have a lot of tract housing, but it's very, very similar to yours. And we can see if we averaged out the prices, this is the price. But because there's going to be potentially 10 to 12 people who want to look at your property and make an offer, that's going to dictate how the values come in, what the range is going to be. So if I have a home that's on the market for $300,000, but I have 12 people who want it, what do you think those 12 people are going to do? They're not, most of them are going to be wise enough to say, listen, we know you're asking $300,000, but we're going to give you more because we know there's so many of us that want the property. Now they can only go up to what they qualify for, but the point is market demand will also dictate what happens with these homes that are on the market. It is not just the appraisal report, which is the appraiser's opinion of what it's worth. What plays a bigger role here is market opinion, what the buyers are willing to pay. Because that, after all, dictates pricing, is what a buyer is willing to pay and what a seller is willing to accept.
Okay, I do have a question. Both of you, please feel free to jump in as you see fit. But given the fact that we live in very, very strange times, and especially in, you know, the past 2 or 3 days, there have been this surge in infections, and we pretty much are in the second surge of what we know as, you know, the COVID-19 era. How is the market for those savvy real estate investors who deliberately acquire property only to flip it? You know, to basically invest very, very short term in a piece of property, maybe pump 50 grand into it, improve it a little bit, you know, change the context of the property, and then completely resell it immediately. And that's perfectly fine. That's a great way to make money. But how has that market changed as far as, you know, this being a seller's market?
I mean, the people that are looking for investments right now, I mean, since the values are going up, there's a few properties out there that need improvements, renovation. There's some properties out there that are in that condition. But again, the investors are looking at where can they maximize their investment dollar. And if they bought something for $200,000, they're looking at what can I get back? If I spend $50,000 on renovating, am I going to get it back when I try to sell it? So investors are pretty savvy. They're looking at, if they're going to be renting it, how much can I get back? And if I pump all this money in, is it going to come back in terms of a return? So in terms of the seller's market right now, there are not that many really good deals because the values have gone up. And as Gina puts it, prices have gone up even beyond the appraisal value. So we're seeing that with the offers we've submitted. I've done a number of offers, and so has Gina, that we've gone over the asking price because they didn't want to lose out. And luckily, I closed just one transaction that the buyer bid higher than what was asking and was lucky enough to get the property. But that was after testing it, where he put in 2 other offers that he didn't get it. Even though he put up a little more, he didn't get the property because somebody else bid higher. So right now, again, we're emphasizing that, and plus there's cash offers that the terms and conditions that the sellers look at, that, you know, they would accept a higher offer and better terms in the purchase document.
That's very interesting. Okay, fascinating. So Gina, let's get the last word from you, please.
So, you know, Jace, you know, what has changed with those investors that are going around looking for properties that they could, you use the word flip. What has changed is because the market is so competitive and it is going up, properties that used to be fixer-uppers that we typically would have said, hey, you know, this is a fixer-upper, we're going to have to price it for investors. That is no longer even on the table. Yes, it's a fixer-upper, but buyers right now are willing to pick these up. So it makes that market even more competitive. Non-investors are now willing to entertain these homes that are fixer-uppers because they understand how pricey it is once somebody else gets their hands on it and then they do the renovation, they put it on the market. Now they've priced, you know, our typical buyer, they've priced them out because they've spent so much money in the renovation. So that market, like I said, it's all about market demand.
Interesting. Okay, so I would love to continue. Let's do a part 2 of this, lady, because there's a bunch more comments, questions, I should say, that I want to ask and everything like that. But let's get to that next week. So until then, Liz, we love your Villa Cantantasi background as always, and you actually own a property there, so very, very nice. And Gina, never go wrong with a Carabao.
Never. Absolutely never.
And please, ladies, stay safe. And to you and all your colleagues at RE/MAX Diamond Realty, we wish you and all your families a very good week. Please stay safe.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye, Jay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.